Hello, my name is host Eric. I'm the host Talking with Famous People, and I'm here tonight to talk about conflicting relations. So I'm going to read this thing off the internet first. Conflict, this is from Sociotype.com, Socionics, Intertype Relationships Conflicting. Conflict is the intertype relation considered to be the least comfortable and fulfilling psychologically. One's conflictor is the quasi-identical of one's dual. So they may seem similar at first glance, despite being polar opposites in terms of psychological compatibility. In relations of conflict, partners' egos functions correspond to the superego functions of the other. This is similar to the superego relations, except the partner's first and second functions correspond to the other's fourth and third, respectively, as opposed to their third and fourth. This means the person conveys a large amount of verbal information to the weak, vulnerable function of the other. This function is not able to digest such a large body of information in stride, and the person's thinking process becomes disorganized and muddied. The difference in rationality also makes this relationship develop much more haphazardly and awkwardly than superego relations. In relations of conflict, two people belong to opposite poles of all four basic dichotomies, which is irrational, introverted, sensing, and logical, and rational, extroverted, intuitive, and ethical. At a distance, conflictors may find each other interesting, but as they become closer, they are sure to notice a fundamental difference in their motives and point of view. They can only sidestep this by limiting their relationship to the most formal and superficial interaction possible in a given situation. The most natural psychological distance for this relationship is very long. When interaction is unavoidable, uncomfortable misunderstandings, or most often a sense of awkwardness and ambiguity usually result, even when both partners have the best of intentions. When actual conflict occurs, conflictors tend to repeat themselves over and over without ever making themselves understood. Thus, they are often not even sure why the conflict exists in the first place. Conflictors can have known each other for a very long time without having the slightest understanding of each other's motives. This makes true collaboration and intimacy difficult. It is quite common for conflict partners at work or in other formal situations to make a point of being civil and friendly to the other and openly demonstrating their goodwill. In the process of doing this, they usually end up trying to engage one another's vulnerable function, but this only makes the other suspicious and withdrawn. Compare this to the suggestive function, which one readily allows others to engage in support. Because of this disparate life goals, conflictors seldom have the same interests, but when they do, discussion of these interests can provide a means of interaction formal enough not to be impeded by socionics factors. So Hami says this description describes exactly his relationship with the ESFJ. So Hami and my ex-wife do not get along well. Candace and Hami, I'm not going to try to set you up with my ex-wife, okay, Hami?
The weird thing is that my sister's an ESFJ.
Really? You guys just don't see eye to eye at all about anything, or what?
I mean, we get along, but I don't know. I don't understand ESFJs at all. Like, I don't understand where they're coming from, why they do what they do. Like, I look at them as like irrational, I guess.
You just don't get them, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're irrational.
Really try.
So who's yours? Who's yours, JC? Yours would be
INTP.
INTP. Oh, so you don't get INTPs or what?
It's like I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with it, but why would you think that?
Why would you waste any of your time thinking those words, right? Let me go grab my cigarettes from the car. I left them in the car like an idiot.
Conflictors. I've been wondering about Mr. Haberdasher. I haven't seen him for a while. Did he like?
What was that?
You believe Mr. Haberdasher was an INFP?
I don't know what Mr. Haberdasher is for
I
sure.
typed him.
I remain unsure about him. He's an unusual individual of whatever type he is. He's not really standard. He's got some personal history that makes it difficult for him to be typed by a normal means, I think. But I could be wrong about that.
Your attempt to type him resulted in ISFP? ISFJ.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering if he was an ISFP. In which case that would cause a problem if you didn't realize that was the case. This would be
Yeah, I don't know. He might be.
I need to find his YouTube channel and check him out.
Yeah, he's got a bunch more. He's got uploaded quite a few videos lately. Difficult individual to type. I would say my experience with ISFP is very much like what it says there, in the sense that we were constantly miscommunicating to each other. I would assume subtext that wasn't there. She'd say something very simple, and she'd mean exactly the thing that she said, not anything else. That continually baffled me. You cannot possibly mean everything you say exactly in the most literal sense of the words. You must have some subtext going on here. But I think in general, they don't really have a lot of subtext going on, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. It just baffles me continually.
I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of a gamma thing. It's a lack
had that
of
as well.
It worked best.
It's the lack of NE and FE. NE will make you do all this random stuff instead of like to the point, and FE will make you like couch your terms. And so if you don't have either of those, you might be like really literal.
Right, when you have SE and TE together, they're just so practical and kind of to the point.
Well, they are, but what's interesting is that INTJ and ENTJ end up, that manifests in terms of a bunch of stuff that complements or collaborates with TI well. So TI can take that SETE stuff and analyze it according to its own standards, and TE and TI can kind of get along pretty well, you know? But with the TE down at the bottom in the ISFP, there's very little common ground for
also the NE.
Yeah, right. NE is what their seventh, right? Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. So that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. What are all these ideas you keep putting out here, Eric? I don't even understand what the point of any of these things you're saying is at all. It makes no sense to me. I don't like it. We already know the way things are. Why do we need to come up with new ideas about the way things could be? That's a complete waste of time. And yet that's my whole reason for being. So that's a bit of a challenge. Other thoughts on this?
Yeah, my roommate from
ahead,
from this year in college, he was an ESFJ, and every time that like we spoke to each other, he would, I guess, spit out his FE wisdom, and that doesn't work on INTJs at all. And he expects me to reciprocate, and then I spit out my NI wisdom, and he doesn't understand like what I'm talking about.
Right.
So we just don't connect with each other at all.
I'm sure he finds you uncooperatively resistant to FE rules. You know, he probably just sees you as being willfully uncooperative. God damn it, Hami, why won't you behave more FE-like?
No, I think ESFJs probably look at INTJs and it probably really frustrates them because they're used to like reading people. Like they're used to being good at that. And they probably have a really hard time with INTJs and it probably really frustrates them. That's how I think it probably.
Right. Yeah. If your main way of being is FE, and then you encounter somebody who has a flat facial expression and is not giving you anything on that vector, it's gonna be like dealing with somebody that you have no natural way of dealing with or something.
Yeah. Good luck trying to read an ITJ, INTJ, or ISTJ. FE7.
Or even INFJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, INFJ is going to get along fine with ENFJ because they both got FE way up there. But, I mean, I'm sorry, with ESFJ, although I will say this, INFJ thinks ESFJ is judgmental. And INFJ doesn't like ESFJ for that reason, in general.
I get along with INFJs, like the few that I've met. Yeah,
INFJs are very likable. it's hard to find people who don't like them because
Yeah, I don't know if they like me, but I like them.
Yeah, I like ENFJs too. It's just that, like, it's different with the ESFJ where I understand where the ENFJ is coming from, maybe because of the NI, but at the same time, the INTJ still doesn't follow the FE rules, so that's a conflict. But we understand like why they're doing what they're doing.
Right, and see that shows you so much the difference between where FE is in your stack. You know, if it's dominant, you're going to find INTJs annoyingly mystifying. If it's third, for me, you're going to find INTJs refreshingly not having to worry about that shit all the time. You know, so it's like the difference between third and second is enormous in how your attitudes are. Anything other thoughts on this conflicting relationship? The types that just cannot seem to get along with each other because
my
they
best
see things
friends
so differently. One of your best friends, though, is an INTP, you say.
Yeah.
So how does that work out then?
I talk, and then I go, did anything I just said? He goes, yeah, I heard you. And then I keep talking some more. He indulges me. At least that's how it works from my perspective. I have no idea how it works from his perspective.
Right. Well, he probably just enjoys being excused from his INTP-ishness for a second, not having to fret about introverted thinking things and just hear someone talk about whatever it is you're talking about, you know? So,
yeah.
I think introverts in general probably have a certain amount of something fulfilled simply by getting out and engaging, even if it means more listening than talking, I would guess. But, you know, it depends, of course, on the extrovert. If the extrovert is socially graceful and is attentive to those things, then I think they stand a better chance of successfully navigating those relationships. Any other thoughts on the conflicting relationship? All right. Well, thank you for watching Talking with Famous People. And for the last time this evening, I want to remind you to please run to that kitchen, open that fridge, look inside, find the cheese, cut yourself off a slice about this big, and eat it.